All right, so I promise you this video is going to be different than anything you've ever seen before, and hopefully you find it as cool as I do. I'm kind of weird about stuff like this, but I just think it's so interesting. So I'm going to use some real life anatomy to explain to you why discs don't slip. Because a lot of times when people come in, it's like, oh, I got a slip disc, and you just pop my disc back into place. And it doesn't work that way, so let's look at some anatomy. So this is a real spine, right? And it's not from a human, it's from a deer, but it's amazing how similar they are. So a deer is like this, but we're like this. So these are the bumps, the spinous processes that you feel along your back. And these are the transverse processes that stick out just like on us. And then here's the inside of the spine right here, okay? So now if you disarticulate it, which I did, and you take it apart, there is the disc on the inside. You see that? See how white that is? Now this disc is fused into the bone, top and bottom. And then from the inside, you can see like there's ligaments all the way around it. This thing isn't slipping anywhere, right? But what can happen is it can get injured. And when it gets injured, then you feel pain, and you can have really severe pain, and you can injure it. And what happens is if you look at the disc, let's see if it'll focus, but if you can see there's little fibers that go all the way around it, right? There's like called annual fibers that go around like a ring around the outside, and then the inside's kind of soft, right? So what happens is when we do a whole bunch of bad lifting with our back and flexing our spine like this over and over and over, we just keep pinching the front of this disc right here, right? It's just constantly pinch, 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 especially if you're holding onto something so you have a whole bunch of weight while you're pinching it. And over time, just little micro traumas to this fibers, and eventually it goes. And these fibers can tear, and then the soft part from the inside can kind of squirt out, and that's what a disc bulge is. So it's like it's damage to the disc. Discs don't just slip out of place and can be pushed back in. They can get damaged, and anything that gets damaged takes time to heal. So what damages them is repetitive, improper spine flexion, which is what, and exactly, so this is you on your back doing a bunch of sit-ups does. So if you do a whole bunch of sit-ups and crunchies and you have Russian twists where you fold up and then twist, you're just constantly putting pressure and load on the front of that disc, and eventually it's going to fail. I mean, there's a reason why the military is phasing sit-ups out of their PT test, is because it was people were training, doing a whole bunch of sit-ups to get ready for the sit-ups test, and it's killing low backs, right? I mean, if you think about your spine, it's meant to keep you upright. A sit-up just puts you in poor posture. It makes no sense. It's crazy. I mean, the amount of people that pay to go to someone to show you to do sit-ups is insane. But if you really understand anatomy and you're a dork like me and go through and have really dissected and really studied things and understand it, it just doesn't make any sense, right? One thing people always, that's really, I find fascinating too, is if you look, I mean, just look at how white that is, right? You can see like all the, like right here, all this red, that's all muscle, but how white that is. So red means it's a very high blood supply. So if you injure it, it's got a direct blood supply and it can heal relatively very quickly, actually. This is so white, see that? It doesn't get a direct blood supply. The way it gets its nutrition and the way it heals is by diffusion of nutrients through the vertebra into the tissues, right? Like subtle, slight, just life and motion gets it going through there, all right? So that's why if you hurt your disc, oftentimes, I mean, it's a months to even years recovery because it's just such a slow healing tissue. So how do you get it to heal faster? Without question, the best thing you can do is to stop screwing it up, right? Too often it's like, what can I do to help it heal? What can I do to help it heal? It's always healing. I mean, think about this. Look at how amazing this like complicated, crazy structure is. I mean, you can see like, I don't know if you can see, let's see if we can make it happen, like right there. See that? That's the spinal cord going through. Isn't that crazy? So there's the spinal cord. So just think, so whatever animal it is, when the baby's in the womb, it starts with one cell. One cell produces this, plus your brain and skull and eyes and stomach, and like for a human, one cell turns into 200 different types of cells and creates this amazing organized structure. So the intelligence that can build a human being is insane, and it's within us, right? So whenever we're injured, it just immediately starts to heal. And the problem is a disc, it takes a real long time to heal, and our movement patterns are poor, so we just constantly keep aggravating it. The best treatment is really rest, and then someone showing proper motion so you stop flexing your back all the time, okay? I mean, the truth is, for most musculoskeletal injuries, the best treatment is just rest, just stop screwing up. So an example I like to give is, let's say you cut your arm, right? You got a big cut right here. And what are you gonna do to help that heal? not pick the scab, right? It's healing. So it's immediately your body's trying to heal it. But if you keep picking the scab, it's never going to heal. If you damage a disc or any skeletal muscle tissue or any tissue, and you just keep re-aggravating, just keep moving it, doing stuff that doesn't allow it to heal, you're just going to stay hurt forever. It's really interesting. Like one thing that happens is when you injure your disc, you want to stretch it out because what happens is these muscles along the back, along here, tighten up because you keep flexing too much. So then you get a tight low back. So the back is tightening up to protect you from crushing your disc. And then we feel like we want to stretch your low back, and stretching it is actually making it worse. Okay? So what you want to do is, the reason your back is tightening up is to protect you. And what's happening is you're not using your hips enough, right? Your hips are too tight. So you want to stretch your hips. So the point is, never, ever, ever stretch your low back, even if it feels like it wants to be stretched. So it's my cool little anatomy lesson on your back and your spine, and really, really interesting stuff to me. If you found this cool and interesting, give me a like below. If you thought it was weird, that's all right. I'm okay with being weird. If you're like somehow offended, I really don't care. Don't watch the next one. But I hope this helps someone, and I'll make some more cool ones like this.